Hi. There is not going to be any particularly fancy opening intro here right now. I'm mostly just doing this as a casual test stream. I figure there are things I could do, and I figured I may as well try and do them. So here I am doing them. Check it out, it's Minecraft. Don't really have any big plans for today. I just want to make sure that the system is working. I needed a benchmark for that, so I'm playing Minecraft. But I figured while I was here, something that I could do that's not so progressive or commitment-isk. I don't know. I thought I could like do some Redstone stuff just by itself from a blank world. So welcome to the brand new Redstone world. I had a Redstone world, but I forgot to port it over in the move to Linux. I have it, it's just not in the file system for this installation of Minecraft. I will get to that later, I suppose. In the meantime, I guess I could start doing a Minecraft Redstone thing. Let's get our general materials we need. A good bit of dust, some torches, repeaters and comparators are always good. I'm a fan of the copper bulbs. There is the oak shelf, which I have not done much with, and I am curious about. Classic other things include the piston, maybe some buttons and levers, but now we're reaching the end of my inventory bar, so we may as well just stop there for now. And of course, some blocks to build with. This is just your regular default Minecraft super flat redstone ready preset, available at your local installation of Minecraft. What should I actually do? I mean, I guess first off, I can look at this. The oak shelf is relatively new. I know it has signals, but I don't exactly remember what they do. Let's try some things. I think that looks like a 1. Oh, this may be a problem. Okay, and that's a nothing. So it's not like the chiseled bookshelf where it's like based on the position and purely if it's an interaction. What if I put one here? That looks like a 2. Over there. Over there. Then... oh, that's a 4. So, are those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? They're adding. This is 7? That's a 7. I think I heard that this was how it works. I think this is counting in binary. So in terms of there being an item in there or not, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Quick sanity check, though. If I put an entire stack in there, still 4. That's interesting. We got, like, a proper binary thing. Does this change if I put it into full mode? Well, it's still 4. That's still 5? Okay, so it doesn't care. Hit new question. Does this work with hoppers? If I hop, will it hop to it? Oh, it might have combined the stacks. So if I do this from, let's say, block of stone is in there, fill it, then put redstone. It puts in the next available location. But if I put in another stone, that goes in the first spot. Interesting. Doesn't seem like this would be good as like an inventory storage for like an automated system. Like an item filter type of drain it to a particular level, because that's based on capacity, and this is not telling us capacity at all. It's almost like 3 lanes of detector encoded as binary. I take the whole thing out and it swaps. Notably, it's the last inventory slot. That is consistent. It's always the last 3. If I do this. What if I do this? Okay. Science. Then say I activate all 3 of these. Well, that behavior just makes sense. But if I move this to here... Now it's in the middle. If there's 2, it's the bottom 6. And it's always the bottom 6, okay. Then is it possible to go beyond? Say I do that. Aha! Okay, interesting. How does it decide where its loyalties lie? What kind of machinations can I pull off with this? Okay, let's say I have 2, and then I have 2. And I think for, like, completeness sake, we should have these be completely empty. Turn that on. Then I do this, what happens? It goes to the left. This one goes to the right, even though the circumstances seemed pretty similar. This one goes left, but if we set up the same experiment with these 2... Wait, no, this one went left as well. Maybe I accidentally left that one. Okay, pure complete blind test. We'll just get a bunch of these down. Go. Actually, let's just extend it really far so I can do this test wherever the heck. So if I do outer, outer, it goes left. If I go inner, inner, it goes left. What if I go the opposite direction? What if it's the oldest update? So outer here, it goes left. This one's tainted, however, because it already had a try. So outer here, it goes left. And let's just say randomly inner here. Okay, I think I'm pretty confident that it will connect to either the shortest one available. Nope, I'm wrong. Okay, I think no matter what, as far as I'm seeing it, it tries to connect to the left. Can't particularly think of a way that I could use that to my advantage, but just generally timing a... Hold on, I thought of a thing. Okay, for this, I'm going to have to test how this works with hoppers extracting. I know this is a pretty weird thing to be doing, but all redstone is inherently weird. That's what makes it cool. Yeah, there we go. Give me my lever back, put it there, I guess. So, hopper off for a second. I put a redstone torch in there. It goes out. Makes sense. Put a redstone torch and then another one there. They go out sequentially. Makes sense. I put, let's say, torch, repeater, torch. It goes out left to right. I mean, I guess that makes sense for any normal inventory, but that's interesting. Confident there's something that could be done with that. Okay, here's the question. Now we start having some real mysteries on our hand. I do... Make sure you're on. If I do this, does this still output? It does. What if I do all three? Forgot to turn this thing on. It does, just in sequence. So hoppers don't care. But what if I do this? I just put a redstone in every position. Link these. Does the hopper care that they're linked? Does it treat this like a double chest? No. Okay, so as far as I understand it, a hopper's interaction with this is effectively treating it as if it is a 3-item container. And that all this extra fanciness out the sides is kind of irrelevant. Or at least ignored. Cool, I guess. I'm going to call that a successful experiment of some kind. I kind of miss all my cool machines. I'd like to show them off, but save for just me reconstructing the basis. The most impressive singular thing I think I've done is made a Morse code transmitter and readout tape. It was basically a long line of redstone lamps with hoppers behind it that was like feeding in a single item. And then there was a minecart that would go under, pick them all up if you wanted to clear the screen. And then the actual transmission was the part I was really experimenting with, using calibrated skulk sensors as sort of a communication tower network. I had this whole machine that you put in one skulk sensor, you made a noise, and it would collect all the noises, send them out at a particular frequency, and then decode it on the other side as to one of 4 redstone outputs. I had that thing, like, finely tuned so that each of the 4 signals would arrive at the destination at the exact same time. They were perfectly aligned. So you picked one, you sent a redstone signal in, that same redstone signal would come out the other side as like a remote box. They were also the same size and had the same sort of inputs. Let me see if I can just make a brief demonstration layer here. So like it was very flat but sort of big. was this big old cube, square. Shut. I appear to have an off by 1 error. So it was something like this. There was a sculpt sensor right here, which would then be funneled out into another sculpt sensor down the line, using a bunch of, like, amethyst shards, well, amethyst blocks, to then propagate the signal. It could go up, it could go across, it could go way over, to a visually similar box that acted as the output. So in this case, it was a basic matter of you had one of these signals, you turn this on, the identical box somewhere else would have its leftmost redstone output begin. And it was all transmitted using sculpt sensors from one place to another with 4 options, and these could be stacked vertically on top of each other for more throughput if you wanted to. The idea here was to encode a message. So it's like 1 option here, 1 option here, 1 option here out of 4. You could get a... Well, you could get 1 of 64 unique individual signals. 63 if you don't count nothing. Well, I guess you could count nothing. I don't know. But like you had 4 options here. I guess, assuming you're sending a signal on any line, empty signals on the others are perfectly fine. So it'd be 4 times 5 times 5. Well, no, it'd be 125 opt. You have 5 and 5 and 5 minus 1 for the nothing state of sending no signal. Yeah, you could send almost the entirety of ASCII. And a lot of that's just useless codes or filler space you could definitely ignore. But the idea here was to combine it with another system. Yeah, I'm bringing out the banners for this. So the whole idea was I was trying to invent a new communication system, or like a communication language. I'm a big fan of things like Morse code and the like. But the idea was that you would have... And I'm going to have to make a crafting table, huh? I guess I could have just done the banners directly, but I like the symmetry of it if I don't. So here was my thought. Here's my idea. On the input side, you would have a red channel, a green channel, and a hopper channel, and a blue channel. And your message, whatever signal you were sending, was determined by the rotation you provided to the individual shields. And you might be thinking, well, how do you determine from vertically up to vertically down? That's the neat part. You don't. Vertical is vertical. You have vertical, diagonal, diagonal, and then horizontal. Those are the 4. You got these 4 here, 4 here, 4 here. These would correspond to a triple stack of this machine, which would then send out a wireless vibration-based signal to another machine that could then be decoded into, the data you're sending. And I liked this sort of like RGB system as my transmission, or just like the visual input language, because it seems simple and like well ordered. Because like an R, a G, and a B are completely, just by color, indistinct, like fully distinguished from each other. So you could be like red horizontal, green vertical, blue vertical, that's some message. You could have red horizontal, green vertical, blue horizontal, that's something else. And there's at least some visual feedback. You're not just typing in a random number and it converting. You can maybe start to associate with particular things. Granted, these 3 channels are overkill, but 2 channels is just barely not enough to put in like the standard 26-letter alphabet. So you do need the 3rd, but you don't really need to use the 3rd all that much. I apologize, I'm explaining a thing. Hello. Hi. Don't mind me, I'm just casually explaining a language or an encoding for Minecraft. It's not even like properly hooked up. The actual thing that's hooked up is in my old Redstone world, which I have not ported over yet. But this was the idea. You rotate the R, G, and B to make your signal. It would go to this machine that I, like, you know, it's black box. It's just a big cube of wool as far as anyone else could tell. Sends out the wireless signal, goes to another box, and then activates redstone way over there. The part where this sort of fell apart is that I didn't have a way to conveniently make this visual representation on the output side. Like, what am I gonna do? Rotate a shield? You can't rotate a shield without right-clicking it yourself. I can't automate that. There's no redstone to do that. I thought about using, like, redstone lamps or maybe even the copper bulb in a way that could, like, you can imagine like a wall screen that just has these circles. Then you would have a red wool, a green wool, and a blue wool. Wrong item. Wrong color. Wrong item again. And then say, had we sent red vertical, green diagonal up, blue vertical, it would have looked something like this. Hi Sega. I guess I did show this off at some point in a random other Minecraft stream, but here's a recap of what it was. No progress has been made. The problem with this is that it's very large, and it means I can only send one message. Whereas what I would prefer is to have a system like my Morse code machine, where it would be able to, you'd be able to write like, this is a letter, this is a letter, this is a letter, send them all in sequence, and then they're stored at the other end. It was easier for Morse code because that's just like a one-dimensional object. Exactly, you are referring to the old Project Migdal, where I did want to make a no real-world language SMP of some kind, just to make these like esoteric language and communication methods justifiable. But in practice, these things are way over-engineered, because all you really need to do to communicate in Minecraft is press the T button. And if you want to communicate secretly, you press the T button and then type in like say space. I know say is it's tell, and then person's name. So it doesn't. It's completely unnecessary. It's over-engineered as all heck, but I like that. I like exploring communication methods. Here's another simpler one, and I think this one of all of the things I did, was a complete success. And it was my sort of copper encoding. Best way to do this would probably be waxed copper. Copper is difficult. I do have command blocks, but I would like this to be usable in a general, like, survival situation. In the sense that they're enabled for this world, I just am not using them. But yeah, here was the copper idea. Effectively, it's Morse code. Waxed copper is a dot. Waxed oxidized copper is a dash. And while you would spell out the copper, like the individual letters horizontally, you would arrange them vertically. So for example, if I wanted to write the word exception, it would be dot, and then X is complicated. That actually, let's just put these on 1 and 2 for convenience here. Dash dot dot dash. C is dash dot dash dot. E is a dot. P is a dot dash dash dot. T is a dash. I is 2. Was it 2 or 4? It was 2. O is 3 dashes, and then N is dash dot. So you would have this, and then you would implement some artistic creativity using the other two. The other two would encode no information, but the objective is to get this to be... Well, okay, there is a problem here, and there's, like, hypothetical directionality. Like, you might be... Looking at it above, it makes sense that it goes top to bottom. But if you're below it, that's ambiguous. So you put, like, medium weathered copper just vaguely below it, and off to one side, and now it's no longer ambiguous. Provided that you don't, like, mirror it weirdly. And then for the fill-in, you just sort of get kind of creative, maybe try and make cool shapes, like, I don't know, this is starting to look like an arrow of some kind, so maybe all that, swap that out. It's not perfectly symmetric, but you kind of see how it is. Maybe like a cool little snaky bit. And this adds some sort of creativity to how you wish to express a word you're writing. So this says exception. It's a rectangle. The top left corner here is the... Well, it's the only edge of the block that has fully unoxidized or fully oxidized. So you know to start there and then follow the edge that is full all or nothing. So you'd read this and be like, that's a dot E, that's an XCEPTION. And that's your word. I could probably get a bit more creative with the half oxidization. And if you wanted it to be fully clear and less artistically, I imagine the, like, variety of illustration that you do with the half rusted as sort of the variety you can get with calligraphy. But for the most part, if you want pure readability, just do all waxed exposed. If your goal is to not actually convey any artistic intent and simply communicate, just wax exposed, and it's very easy to read. But I like the idea of this being both a sign and a symbol. And a little bit obfuscated. Like, someone could look at it with all of its, like, random waxed, like, inner detailing and be like, wait a minute, I don't understand what the heck's going on. What is this thing? And it being sort of creative like that. I like it. And here, if you may pardon me from being a little bit rude about it for a second if I do this really quick. Technically, this line is irrelevant, but I did just write the word sus and make it look like the Amogus guy. So you can do some jank with this. You can get a little funny. And I like that. I like that there's a little bit of creative expression you can have here. Though admittedly, I do think it looks better if you fudge the format a little bit to make it a little taller, because then it really looks like the guy. You know, I guess in this case, it is a little ambiguous, if only because this is a 3-letter word. Because you could read it like this, like going across and then down, or you could read it like this, going across and then down. In which case, it would read SSU. But that's only a problem in extremely small messages. And then this is extendable to entire, like, sentences. You could just say, keep going. Be like, okay, well, add a little bar for space to the next sentence, a literal space. And then just write more things. And then boom, you just keep going. And then the whole thing, the whole message then becomes this, like, extended canvas to draw on in the empty space. Nope, wrong place. If you're wondering what I wrote below sus, it says soap. Just, I wanted to start with another S. And then I just made another word out of random. So, yeah, everything seems to be working so far. I can't capture Minecraft using the general game capture system that I'm using for everything else on Linux. I tried, and it's not working. But I can capture the game at all if needed, as demonstrated here, and I'm just trying to see if that's working okay. In addition, this was also going to be testing more background music, but I decided that I didn't want to muddle my KSP soundtrack with this game, and Minecraft already has a massive soundtrack that I tried to get that used in the background, but I was like, there's in-game music, I'll just use that. So that test is not actually happening. And then I decided to make a whole stream out of it, do a proper Minecrafty thing. This kind of stuff, this whole communication, transmission-oriented Redstone is sort of my, like, high-concept Redstone that I like to do. As far as low-concept Redstone, I enjoy trying to make simple, practical Redstone creations. A thing that takes minimum effort, but provides some creative or useful benefit. One of my personal things I like to go back to a lot is sort of just like a jump pad. Where if you've got a base and you've got like just a place you want to go, put a piston in the ground with a slime block on it. Pressure plate here. It is, let's see if I remember this. It was like a repeater with 2 clicks, I think. And then with this alone, you can just go... I have messed something up. Yes, I did. I forgot to add a redstone line here. There we are. Now that should have connected. Oh. Oh, this is what I forgot. My mistake. We do this. Okay, a little too fast. I forgot the problem. Pressure plate goes here. That's why my memory is failing me. And like, materially, what does this require? A sticky piston, a slime block, some glazed terracotta, though you could just as easily use, I don't know, obsidian, maybe even a furnace. Just anything that doesn't move with slime. Run at it. I have messed this up again. And yes, because I forgot the redstone dust. Like, yeah. Slime block, piston, repeater, redstone dust, pressure plate. And then you just... Now that's a problem with the timing. Timing is... probably 3. Run over it. Too early still. Timing of 4. Boom. So you can imagine if you have like a hypothetical treehouse or otherwise tall platform connected by nothing, or at least nothing nearby. Lovely little platform, you run up, boom, you're in your base. And like, what zombie's gonna be able to get up here? They don't fast enough, they don't know how to piston jump. They just do that, like, boom, you're up here. And it's so materially simple that a person playing survival Minecraft with very little redstone knowledge could just set this up. And it looks cool and it acts cool. This, like, philosophy of survival redstone is something that was given to me by hit redstone YouTuber and orbital bombardment piston flying machine constructor, Redstone. And I very much liked this. I didn't really take to the flying machine bomber, especially because this was before the observer was in Minecraft, so your flying machines had to be absolute monstrosities just to do the simplest thing. We really live in a golden age of flying machines now compared to back then. And then if you think that, oh, I don't want to have this weird, like, floating platform, you're in luck. Because with a little bit of engineering, you realize that this whole piston launcher thing is pretty much direction independent. Why run from that direction? I put arrows around this whole thing. Put some there. Put one here, put one here. This is now 4-directional. 4. Fill it all in. Forgot the redstone. Thank you for wishing me a great stream. I'm having a good time. I worry too much about the entertainment value of my streams that I forget to actually just relax and enjoy it sometimes. Until I actually start the stream. Hey, you can run up here. You can run up here. And they all just work. Now, granted, if you're walking, you will not make it in time. And that is a design flaw. But this could therefore be a, like, running detector. Zombies can't get up, they're too slow, traditionally. They also won't really understand. Then, if you want to add some like, stylistic one-directionality to this, you can... I'm making this platform a little big relative to what I would do for this and make it as small as possible while still working. But, like, take some scaffolding and fill in the area. Now, It's like a whole solid floor above you. You run up, boom. You are now on the second floor. You want to go back down? Well, you can't. It's one way. But the easy way back down is just like pop a hole here and be like that. I'm out. So very easy. You go up. You go. You go down. You'd even make the floor a little bit higher. You have the clearance for it. And then from there, you start asking questions like, why have these connected? Maybe the direction you jump up here decides which room you go to. So that may be just making it unnecessarily complicated. Good stuff. I like this stuff. I did make a version that had diagonals. There was like an extra repeater that went into one of the side repeaters. Like this one would go here, this one could go here to just like delay it further a little bit. So you can make it close to 360. What you can't do is this. This will not work. At least not easily. It starts getting complicated if you try to do that. Yeah, and then this isn't really me designing anything new. This is me demonstrating things I've designed in the past. Actually, I'll build this off of the... No, I'll just do this like this. So say you're somebody who has designs on going somewhere. You want to go up to a little place, say here. You're like, all right. Then you want to press a button to go to space. Like, hey, I walk up here, I get to go to space now. You press a button. This is sort of a less athletic version that is button activated. You would press the button and then the piston would push you up. Let's wire that in. This one does not require nearly as much timing consideration. I can just... You really just do that, I think. Not quite. That, however, will work. I am wrong. Oh yeah, I'm absolutely wrong. This is powering this spot, not here. Now it'll work. And this is where a little more to do. First off, let's check how high we can get. We can get right here. Excellent. What am I up to? I'll tell you what I'm up to. I'm up to making this cooler. So let's say you want the floor to raise up under you. You can just like go up and then boom, you're on this floor and didn't even have to move an inch. Trick to that is using the classic tripwire hook along with some string. Sector here. Then from here, simply connect up. And then you can imagine this being like a solid wall that just casually exists. If this is the floor, then the floor would continue this way to whatever hallway you've just jumped up to. So if you can imagine a secret agent who's like Ah, I wish to elevate to my secret treehouse. Whoop. And here we are. Step off, the door opens again. For some reason, not much practical purpose to it, but it is cool. It's also a little bit more safe compared to a design that maybe uses the timer. It's less complicated by far than a system that needs to respond to this button input to retract this piston and then push it back out once we arrive, though that comes at the cost of a little bit of secrecy, I suppose. Unless... press the button, we fly up here, this lifts off, and then maybe I'm inventing like a secret door room. If we use this same signal of the tripwire to open the passageway forward, that's a little awkward because of how close it is. Oh, then maybe even why bother? Don't overcomplicate it. Just make another pressure pad here. And then that will reveal to us it's a regular old redstone door. Pressure plate's there. Let's try putting the redstone here. We'll need to be an inversion somewhere. Here, probably best. Those two go out. And now here's our mechanism. Hide this. This was kind of an accident, but pretend this is some weird, like, diagonal wall on a building. And you're in your secret underground facility, and you're like, I'm gonna appear on the street. Beep. So now you're here in, like, mechanism chamber 1. And you're like, okay. Get yourself prepared, dust off your jacket, be like, okay. Straighten your tie. Out into the wild world. And reality is none the wiser. Sneaky. Now, the only reason I make it a diagonal... oh, well, this is just sort of a secret exit. It's not a secret entrance. The secret entrance would have to be a different thing. But I imagine it would be simple as, you know, just another secret entrance off to the side. The problem with the logic of this whole thing, regardless of the piston door, is that this tripwire effectively stops you from falling down. In fact, it's possible to use this fact to stop you, like, to go over a 1-block wide bridge that does not exist. Like, imagine you're in this situation. There's walls to either side of you. Pretend these are walls. I'll pretend they're walls even better. And you have to have a sort of a short ceiling, otherwise you can sort of crawl inside. But let's say you want to get across there. Secret hallway with no floor. And to make matters worse, the place is tripwired to all heck. So everyone's going to be like, man, there's going to be traps at every single step of this progress. There's tripwire left, tripwire right. Then a nice little bit of thing. We now have a reasonable detection for every single spot here, and I don't know exactly if a piston will work natively like this, but I'm willing to try. But you're seeing it with the tripwires that we've provided and their instant speed of transmission relative to how long it takes for us to fall through the ground. Will this work? No. What's missing to make it work? The tripwire is a little too high. Granted, this would activate it and then subsequently blow up the entire thing. I remember how I got around this. You alternate. One piston on the left, one piston on the right in a zipper configuration. Through this, you can make what is not a one-wide tileable design get as far as you need. Let's just see here. If I'm programming that one, let's bring this, 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 and this. This one stays. Oh, that one doesn't. This, huh? Okay. Stay this, 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 and this. Hello. Testing's going all right. I'm reconstructing some of my old Redstone builds to show off that the kind of Redstone vibes I try to do. So with this, we need like a purely Redstone-based transmission here. Am I a fool? What if I just raise the ceiling? Oh my goodness, this is a quasi connectivity problem. Give me a redstone. Well, no. Let's do a note block. That's hilarious. Okay. Wow, okay. You know what? We don't even need that second side anymore. This is the answer. Quasi-connectivity saves the day. And I didn't even think of doing this, whatever, last time I did this. This is an evolution of the design. Okay, so you have this space you want to get across? I'll just walk across, dummy. The floor is there for you. Wow, I can't believe I made this even better than it used to be. Now, for added effect, you could do some stylistic choices, such as... What do you mean, what if I stopped? Stopping's fine. Just... It stays. It's based on whether you're there or not any timing mechanism. Because it's tripwire based. So it's effectively a position sensor. And then, you know, for that added flair for your evil lair, you know, go with some of the classics, right? Because right now, this is just a hallway, but with a little ingenuity, with a little creativity, a little bit of personal expression, you and your evil genius self can turn any pit into a lava pit. Then boom. You are spooking everybody. Now, what's important to know about this thing is that it is not a trap. It is, in fact, the diametric opposite of a trap. This will kill nobody. This is a very, like, you'll look at this. You see tripwires everywhere, lava right below you, and your brain screams, I should not go down this hallway. But it's actually completely safe. You just walk. Can you run? Absolutely. It's fine. Now, there is actually a way to make this deadly. It's actually too simple to have a toggle switch. Hold on, I just thought of a toggle switch. I need to test something first. Can I move a note block? Oh, there's the toggle switch. And... wow, okay. Okay, so the toggle switch, therefore, would be a second piston line right here. Man, this is genius. Okay, so it would be another piston line here, which could then just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. That'll be excellent. Repeater, redstone along the side, and you would simply toggle this on and off. So let's say this is the inside of your evil lair, and you wish to keep the rabble out. Just go over to your evil lever of make the entrance deadly, and go... I have wired this improperly. Let's just do that. Pull out the note blocks, and then suddenly, dead. Beautiful. And then if you want to actually go across, put them back in. This is great. Oh my goodness, we've turned this into actually something that you might expect on like one of those YouTube SMPs that are purely for content, that are staged as all heck. This could be one of those. A perfectly safe corridor with toggle to make it a perfectly unsafe corridor. I'm not saying I want it all staged. I'm saying that they are staged. And there's nothing wrong with them being staged. Quint's a big fan of professional wrestling. And that's like all the story, all the plot, all the choreography. Like, how are you supposed to, like, make a story if you're not making a thing happen? That's what staging is. It's deadly now. In fact, you could be diabolical with this and say, make only some of it not work. For instance, right now, all of this works fine, and then, oops. Devious. Yeah, there's some variety here. Yeah. Other considerations is, how does this react to a thrown object? Because players are not the only thing that can activate tripwires. Yeah, it'll do that. You line yourself up good, and you can kind of make, like, the whole wall appear. That's funny. Is it safe to Ender Pearl in, I wonder? Like, if I go... No. Unless I'm... Okay, so this version with the tripwires at, like, head level allows it to be toggled on and off. If I lowered the tripwires to feet level, I would no longer be able to toggle it on and off, but it would probably be safe for me to throw an Ender Pearl down. What if I aim for, like, a corner? That does work. Okay. Interesting. So there's some variety. There's some variety in the design here. This version is toggleable. The feet level version would not be toggleable, but you could Ender Pearl safely into the middle of it. Great. So you can imagine maybe a Minecraft player is like, ooh, secret passage. Goes up, accidentally hits their head on the roof because I aligned this poorly. They're secretly here. They're up here, they're like, ooh, secret location, ooh, deadly tunnel. And they don't know what to do about that. Let's make it more collected. Make it more ominous. So you're in, just came out of the secret passage, you're like, ooh, secret other passage. Full of lava and traps. A scared player would leave. But no, you're fine. And then, like, I can imagine, like, a dramatic chase sequence where, like, one person is running down the hallway, another person's in hot pursuit. They get to the end, they turn the corner, pull the lever, and now the person chasing them falls into the lava. Like, there's drama here. That note block thing was a stroke of genius. I realized quasi-connectivity was the answer, and I was like, wait a minute, I can interact. So yeah, first, well, this is a modification of an older design I made. First design made purely here, kind of. Dramatic lava drip. But the fact that I don't need the pistons on the other side means that this is now a lot more compact and simple. Admittedly, the reason I do not have more hours in Gmod is for two reasons. One, the mechanisms through which Gmod operates is a lot more physics-based and therefore unreliable. Whereas Minecraft Redstone is like a grid, it's very, very, like, routine. If you activated, like, a Gmod machine, like a piston, it would, like, wobble out of control immediately. The only thing I ever really did in Gmod was goof around and try and make, like, a hovercraft. It's maybe a little bit too dynamic for me. Look, I consider myself a programmer more than, like, a mechanical engineer. I like my systems to be reliable and consistent. It would be really cool if I made, like, a a whole turret tank system, but that would be cool. Okay, yeah, this is looking good. If I were to make like a gun on a turret with like gun depression, I would do that in Space Engineers. I've been craving playing Space Engineers, but I told myself I would save myself for the economy update. Unfortunately, I think the economy update is a lot further away than I initially imagined. I thought it would be like a month or two, but the more I hear about it, the more it feels like it's actually like very much in long form development. And that is bothering me. But what I wanted to do in Space Engineers, aside from everything else I'm doing, no, this is for Space Engineers 1. I'm not touching Space Engineers 2. Let me see if I can represent this visually using elements at my disposal. So this is like a facsimile of a thing, but I wanted to build like some sort of space engineer gun that would be like covered in the ground. It would just look like some greebling on the ship. Like even this would be sort of like sand covered, and then I need that'll work. With like this. And then when the enemy is never expecting it, I would activate my like weapon system, and they would just sort of like pop out, and then I would go like boom, 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 boom. Like we put it up. This is supposed to be the gun. Let's call this the gun. Like this is the barrel. This is the not gun. It goes up, and then suddenly it's a gun, as opposed to just sort of like a cool extendy blob bit that you see on Space Engineer spaceships. And here, naturally, I can simulate it using sand. Like, pretend that's the top of the ship. And then I'm like, engage weapon systems. Pew, 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 pew. And then you retract. Yeah, that sort of like gap where spaced armor is, that would be a way for it. But my actual inspiration was like the blobbiness and those like in place turrets on like Star Wars Mon Calamari ships. If you get a picture of like the home one, it's just like blob after blob after blob, and the turrets are in the blob. And then I wanted to go even further and have like I wanted a ship that was like blobularly shaped, but completely featureless. The weapons would have to be pistoned out and then start firing, like secretly in placed guns. And then it would have like probes that could detach, but look like they are seamlessly installed as a full blob on the ship that then detach and look like a freaking egg or something. So the entire ship just looks like, I don't know, a collection of bubbles, if you've ever seen like foam. And then it just drops them, and those are like drones. Or they push out, and the guns are underneath. Stuff of that nature. Really, really, really smooth, structured design there. Like the ship looks like it has nothing, but it has everything. One section that has a blob that like opens up at an angle that reveals an entire hangar door. Like crazy stuff like that. The featureless. With every feature. Well, that's discussion for a different game. And I can't do a similar thing in Minecraft because you can't push fences natively. I know there are data packs that allow you to push containers, but I do not have any of them. This is pure vanilla experience. Oh my goodness, I can make it look like even more of a turret if I have chain. And it goes pew 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 pew, and other such noises. And then when the battle's over, it goes back in. Or another crazy idea I had was like a rotary cannon, like one of those like cannons that are like powerful but reload a long time. You could piston it up, it shoots, and then like on a rotor, it can rotate to another gun on the side and then keep firing. I know that somebody has done that to an insane degree with railgun, and it's awesome, but that one's a little overkill, and I don't remember who made it nor the name of the ship. My apologies. It's out there though, it's real. I'm gonna make this square. Yeah, now this sort of fully conveys the system in place. You can elevate this up further. I think we can go like 1 block higher and still land. Maybe even 2. Why did I think I would be able to stand on that by going through a solid block? I am constructing this poorly. Okay, let's see. Can it go here? Yep, this is the altitude. And that makes sense. It's the same altitude here. Pretty much. Let's do that. Let's move it up here. 2 blocks up. Make this square. The reason I care about moving this up is because we can do a little bit of style on the edges, or on the ceiling. For instance, if we do some stair jank, go like I'm ambiently treating this like it would be maybe a tree house or something. We have this. We then have the too many scaffoldings. 2 that way, 2 that way. Just go across. Then here's our platform. And if we imagined the wood just expanding further, this was an entire floor platform, and I made this out of wood to begin with. You could imagine this room below it as just being some larger room that then extends into a further room above. Just you go up here and you're like, boom. Welcome to floor 2. Hop down, and you probably injure yourself. That's a bit of a distance to go. If you make it all slime, it's going to be an absolute pain to, like, walk on. Because you're going to be on slime and it's going to be slow. But what we can maybe do is at least mitigate the problem. Make this hay bale. I'm pretty sure this works. Can't put hay bales in the middle, because the moment the slime block in the center picks up blocks around it, it will get in the way of the actual jump bounce effect. You can do that, maybe like jump at an angle, get on the hay bale, and you're vaguely okay. I just remembered that this was not the final form of this elevator. I'm remembering. Okay. You ready for this? This was... Yes. Okay. There was another elevator of this type that I made, and its design intention was to be jump activated. You wouldn't have to press the button or anything, you would just jump. And this solved a lot of problems. It meant that you couldn't stand too far away from the slime block, because if you put a roof here, and pretend that's not there, the only way you could jump to reach the jump activation was to be, like, properly fully under it. And again, this was done with tripwire. Trig. So, remove the button. So, here's our ground level. We walk here. We want to jump. Tripwire goes there, and string goes here. And other tripwire goes here. And what we're effectively doing is making a piston, like that famous 2x2 piston door, but only one element of it, and it goes vertical. The idea is that immediately upon us activating the machine, this piston will push out. How did I do the floor again? The reason I remember this is because hay bale was the floor. A hay bale was here. You would get on this, you would jump, then this piston, like the hay bale would move out of the way, the piston would go up, and then it would go up. And the reason I put ice here is because on the way down, you would fall through this tripwire, land here, and the pushing out of this slime would launch you this way so that you land with speed. And I don't remember how I did it. I couldn't have pushed the entire assembly. And it has to be this way. I can't put like it slide left and right because I need to be pushed out in the direction of travel. So start with the let's just start with the part that we know has to happen. Tripwire goes here. We activate. The top one didn't go because this isn't directed that way. Easy fixes that. So this activates. So that's what would happen on the way down. once it moves out, we want to activate this one almost immediately after. Let's say, oh, that is lava. Stop putting lava on my redstone. Just get rid of that. This goes up here. Okay, so completely guessing on the timings of all of this. Hypothetically, if there was a hay bale here and I stand here and I jump, I go up here. And that's the intended behavior for going up. Going back down would require me to disable this part. But that's okay. I can do that eventually. Let's just keep it off for now, just for testing. And then I'll go down, go through it, and instead of that happening... So retracting is not working right now. Probably because the piston was extended when it tried to retract. We'd fall down, and then it would push us sideways, effectively. But this is going to require some impressive timing work. On my part. Then these need to stay on for longer than it takes for that one to retract. So let's give it a full... just a 4-tick repeaters worth of extra power from another source. So theoretically, I can activate this now, and then it will retract good. Excellent. Now, the only problem left is the hay bale. And the fact that I just broke the machine. Ain't that something? Now, how did I break the machine? Oh, it breaks machine seems time. To avoid that in the future, because I will be doing some edits, let's put some obsidian there. That almost just works. What if I lower this timing slightly? Like if I just completely ignore the hay bale problem and just fall from a dead drop from the correct altitude, which is this. Too fast. Too slow. That is painful. It means that we are going to have to land. But if the hay bale is there, is this fine? You know what? Even with the hay bale there, it's fine. So in that case, we just want the hay bale to move alongside this mechanism. And for that, how much delay are we? We have 2 ticks. Okay. Oh, hold on. Wait, no, that's fine on the way up. Oh no, there's going to be 1 tick of delay because of the inverter. Because we need one. Okay. Wait. The wiring on this is easier than I thought it would be. Just do it from over here. question is if this is enough time. And if it's not, maybe delay this by 3, because this is a master timer involved in all of this. Then you. So I stand here, I jump. Okay, next question is I stand here and I fall. Maybe I let it. That looked good. Okay, we have it. We have it. We have it. We have it. So, you're on your busy way to whatever particular diabolical schemes you may have cooking at the time. And you want to get into your base. So you go up to your lovely little secret corridor tunnel. I also don't know. If I were building on my own, I would probably design quietly. I would also probably get more distracted. I'm not really a loud thinker, but I do think that speaking my... It's hard to tell because now I have to like sort of remember the past instance and whether I was speaking out loud or thinking internally. But I do think I'm a lot quieter if I wasn't streaming and building right now. Because I'm saying a lot of this to convey my thought process to you, which also doubles as helping me keep tabs on it myself very directly. I'm a big proponent of rubber duck programming. Speaking your problems out loud really helps you figure out what the heck went wrong. Though, admittedly, I would probably be a lot more silent alone. Yeah, here's the finished mechanism. It's got ice for reasons. You stand here, you jump, you are now up here. And if you go back, you fall, and then pushed out for... You hit the ground running, basically. I don't particularly know why you would want to hit the ground running, but now you... If this was like one block over, you could make like a really silly non-minecart roller coaster where you fall down, it gets launched forward, then you go over this thing, which then flings you up over here for some reason. I don't know if that would work because these aren't slippery. And I don't know if there's any unmovable ice. But the idea is there. But for the most part, I just sort of want to pretend this doesn't exist for a second. Just pretend this mechanism isn't here. I just need to drive my way through it. Boop. And then pretend like you're running. Boom. And off you go. Some pretty good distance. Nice. Yeah, I like making Redstone like this. Just an attempt to make something survival practical without being like obscenely technical. And look at all this. This is nothing. This costs nothing. A casual player of Minecraft could get this stuff pretty easily and then build it, and then they would have a cool base. they could build this and have a cool walkway. It should be possible to double-decker this, which is not actually the term I want to use. But because I've modified the design to work entirely on one side, you could get rid... You could double wide it. You could make this too wide, and it would still work just as well. Because you would have this side on this part, and then this side on this part. The old design had to be one wide because it was the zigzag. But now that we have quasi-connectivity on this thing, we could do it again. Just mirror it. Same tripwires and everything. Heck with it. I'm making this wider. You know what that means? I gotta make the lava death trap wider too. Ooh. Hoping I could get the lava just by keyframing the source. Not keyframing. Color pickering the source like you can do with blocks. So we got a diabolical pit here, and this is going to be obscenely easy to build. Just break all this. The string is still there. Put the string on this. Yeah, there's all the blocks in here. Wires along the edge. Then a simple note block. I will not... okay, it's extremely easy. I may as well. I was questioning whether I would port over the deactivation mechanism, but it's extremely easy. I may as well. And then these blocks have to go. Oh, I can't get lower because my own machine is working as intended. Well, no, don't break these. These are the blocks that are going to be moved into place. Just put some on top of it. Two. Then getting these to face the correct way is a little bit of a challenge given my position here. Real careful. Oh, that works. Oh, no, it doesn't. That does. Good, we good. And yeah, that's it. It's done. Note block, piston, and tripwire. One for each block. You are good to go. Little bit of a side effect of the pistons kind of interacting. It kind of awkwardly jolts you to the middle a little bit. You're sort of finagled, but yeah, like it'll stagger you a little bit, which might not be desirable. I think the solution to that is to stick to one side. Part of the beauty of this is that it doesn't have to be this long. It could be one long. Just one piston, one note block, one tripwire to just make one block go into place. That's it. You could just pepper that anywhere. Oh, here's a funny. Have only one side of the hallway break. One of the big disadvantages of this system and all of the crazy piston stuff I've been doing is that results are unreliable on a server. Because who knows what the lag's gonna do to the redstone. So for a lot of the stuff I'm doing, I'd say either be careful or only do it in single player. Like, imagine that, but worse, and you clip through the... Sorry, I'm having thoughts. That's open. You'd have to invert the whole thing. But I guess you could expose it more. Sorry, I'm scheming. Trying to invent a variation of this that works with trapdoors, which I will now dedicate this entire side to doing. At least the first few. The difference for this is... Oh, this one might not fit. It might... Wait, okay. This one's even easier. I need to test this. That works. Okay. Ooh, but the problem is I can't make this too wide. The minimum is 3. Isn't it fine? Well, that's not fine. If you're wondering what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to make a system that does the exact same thing, but with trapdoors. And I would still like it to be one wide tileable, but that really restricts what I can build it out of. Because, yeah, that works. Problem is making the cut under. in a way that is tileable. Because it needs to be inverted. If it's not inverted, this will end up being a death trap. It's easier to snake over above than below. Not what I want. This just become a toggle. What I want is a redstone lamp that sends out a signal. Well, I can do this, but it'll be slow, and it still technically requires a piston in the mechanism. Which kind of defeats the purpose. In a sense. That's fine. This was very much a test. I don't expect grandiose entertainment involved. I'm just sort of meddling around with some redstone. Problem with this. Oh, of course. This is powering that, because of course it would. Oh, this stinks. I'll keep working on this because I want to see it work. The timings work at least. No? Oh, this is powering that. Yes, right. The problem I just said. So Peter would be the more formal thing to fix there. So I step on this. It's too slow. Also, it does that when I fall through. It's 2x2. So what's the solution here? The solution... If I were dealing with a redstone signal strength of really low, like if I could make this a signal strength of 1, this would be trivial. I could just string them all along. But I can't. Another possibility is that we alternate the design. Some mechanism where we have like repeater into redstone and then repeater here. That wouldn't work because this would activate this immediately. This was a block and this was redstone. But then that would go into the walls unless... No. I don't think that would work either, because even the tripwire hook itself sends out the signal, not just the block it's attached to. That's not a strong signal, is it? It's not. So this is strong, this is weak. This has to be a block. Or a repeater. We just find a way to get rid of the... Oh, wait a minute, what am I doing? The solution to this is going to make it slower, but maybe it's still fast enough. Can I do what I'm about to do? Do this. Responsive. Needs to be longer, but there's not enough room if it's longer. The timing on this is going to be abysmal. It won't work. I need to go back to the original. It might have to be one wide zigzag. That really doesn't give the effect I want. Let's just see the initial. Do... Wait, this might not be possible, period. How do I get the signal here without this affecting that? No, because... Wait, no, it should. What am I missing here? The redstone torch is off. This is what I'm missing, of course. This would have to be a repeater. But if it's a repeater, then, as explored before, it's too slow. I think the only solution is to move the tripwire hooks back up. That gives me the space doesn't solve our initial issue, but at least it gives me room to work. That's enough time. Oh wait, no, that's the exact tripwire hook I'm using right now. Why did I get rid of it? And let's set this one up. Okay. So, where does that leave the design? If it needs to be this fast, there is no hope of us getting anything else involved done. We want it to only open up underneath where we are. If only. If only I could... Actually, if it can't be any faster, then Redstone is entirely disallowed. Well, dust. We zigzag it somehow. Explore that option. We went this, and then this, then put a block here, and then this, and then this. What the heck? This'll work. Okay. It's jank. But, oh no. It won't work at all. Unless. Okay, it'll be exposed to the... Oh no, it needs the block there. What's awkward about this is that we need it to go up this way, but not that way. Can we... That'll work. And I'm aware of diode technology, but this is not the correct use case of it. Why are we going... We're going down to avoid that. We can't go back up in time. Because that works there, but it does not work here. Unless we put a block under it. And that completely defeats the purpose of this. Ooh, look, a deadly trap that only goes one block down. You're doomed. That don't help. I mean, we could make it an annoyance machine by having it be a magma block, but that's not really the goal. The thing we can do to adjust things slightly is maybe move the... This doesn't help, it just changes things. Now, strictly speaking, we do start a little lower, but to no help at all. Yeah, everything's telling me that this won't work. We don't have the room. Oh! What if we change what's causing it? Because now I can imagine redstone dust here. And then for the hypothetical trip bar hook that I will put down right now, instead of doing any of that, it goes into... dust immediately. If we put dust there, we can't stop it from connecting. Second best we can do is put dust here. And then reach it somehow with this. Unfortunately, this sort of zigzag down only works going up. So what if one has the torch down there and one has the torch up? Say we do... Okay, well, one more might be necessary to do that. And torch here, dust, dust, dust. Then we're stuck here. This one's going to be affected by that torch. Unless we do something. Thought something. So that's an idea. Then... I need to confirm something. If this is redstone dust, the torch is here. Okay. I think I see it. I think I see it. We alternate these two designs. Okay. This'll work, this'll work, this'll work, this'll work. It's working. Can we do better? No, because this is unavoidably that. but it's good enough. I've built this too close to my previous design. That's okay, we can extend it the other way. But this'll work. Wow, I can't believe I managed to figure out a way to make this work. Do. Probably for best effect, these should be iron trapdoors. We don't want somebody circumventing my trap by pressing the right mouse button. These are real strict about how you go about placing them. This will not be the most elegant thing ever, but it will exist. And that is honestly all that I was hoping for. So, you're alternating two designs. Just set up. Well, we should do both sides. So the way we zigzag, it doesn't matter. We could mirror them, or we could just ignore it. I choose to mirror it. To be honest, I think the piston design's a lot simpler and elegant, but I'm happy there's a trapdoor design that works just as well. Theoretically, I have to prove it works first. You. Oh, you're one as well. Oops. There we go. Now the tripwires. Okay, now in theory, I can make this trap sector. Oh, that's promising. Put some block in. Should have put the block in to begin with, but I can walk down here. Uh-oh! They flaw in my design somehow. And it's because of this, I understand. The solution to that would be... tinted glass works. I'd rather they didn't see this, but I think that's inevitable. I could also use tactically oriented sandstone stairs if I really didn't want them to see it. or clever on the orientation of these stairs, we could conceal more, but I'm not worried about that right now. Okay, theft in 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Right with run. Jump in. Lovely, lovely. You can now travel. Theoretically, we could make this a much more deadly trap. As long as it's below the trap door line. Easily available. I'm really happy with that. This one can't be so easily disabled like the piston system. But that's okay. I'm okay with it as it is. Add some facades just to give it a bit more of an appearance. So you're looking at it like, whoa, what's this happening here? Thinking about it, every other one of these can still be a block. It might be interesting for texturing, given that this is like a different texture than the regular sandstone ceiling. Alternatively, you might like that cool texturing. Nice. A lovely addition to any survival base, but not actually a threat mode of lava. In fact, this could double as like hallway and garbage chute. Like if you got some material in your inventory you don't want anymore, dump it, goes in there. And you're successfully rid of it. There might be ways to compact this slightly further. I am hesitate to investigate them because this was honestly enough of an ordeal. Another threat would be putting a solid block on here. Whoa! You know, I didn't think of it, but I suppose the note blocks are liable to being set on fire. How's about we set this back to the old system? As long as there's no open pocket of air anywhere that the note block can be set on fire, this should still be safe. But perhaps you, the discerning deadly trap designer, may wish to put your lava moat a little bit lower. Might have burned the trapdoors itself as well. I'm glad I swapped over to iron trapdoors then, in the case of this one over here. That could have been trouble. I just thought of something. So this system is cool and good, and I like it. I wish I had a way to decode it that was more compact and simple. But I just remembered a theoretical fact about item frames. What if I did this? What if I made the input mechanism it... Oh. We did it like this. Suddenly, I need a new lime shield. If you, like, forced the chamber for inputting the code to be such that you're standing below it, like this angle, we can maybe even further reinforce that with these stairs. That like that, that like that. So you're standing here. This is here, this is here, this is here. So you have to be here. Oh. I'm seeing opportunity in this design here. Full block. I'll make that a staircase pointing that way. That way. Yes. 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 And then we can't really fix that aside from just dealing with that. But now, the input mechanism is like a singular space location, but like it's almost 3D. The individual channels can just sort of exist, and they can even make shapes. Like we have all going in, all going out. This kind of spiral, we got like just all vertical, but in like different ways. So you can get a little bit more visual with the symbols. And because of the nature of the colors, it's like rotationally symmetric at this angle. You could, like, I mean, maybe you would have a convention. Maybe you would follow the RGB XYZ type of convention for the axes. But, like, you could draw the shape now with colors, even without colors, perhaps. Because we got all the spokes going out. We've got this upside down triangle. And then, big question. Can you still extract the information succinctly? That's green. And then tougher is going to be the one on top. Well, maybe not. This is the wrong block, is it? Oh. No, it's this one. It's this one. So why isn't it? Oh, no. Wait. Hold on. Don't tell me. The comparator signal of an item frame only goes to the exact opposite side of the block. It's not... Oh, no. So if it's on the top and I do something, it just doesn't exist. There's no way to get the signal out of that. No! No, this was so close to being cool! Ah. Wait. Unrelatedly, does that mean that to this, these signals are independent? Interesting. Oh, I missed the redstone. Okay, this wasn't what I was trying to do, and it's not as cool, but that is pretty interesting. You can have one block outputting a comparator signal that's different depending on the side you're outputting from. Maybe this doesn't have to be such a big problem for me. Because, like, step back for a second. What's my goal here? My goal here is to encode messages. With these two alone, we have the symmetry of it means that's only 4 options. So we have 8 possible signals we can send. Sorry, 16. 4 for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then each possible variation. Now this one gives us an additional 4 multiplier for 64, which I thought was very good. We could send each individual letter, some numbers, maybe some predefined messages of some kind. It's slightly too short, and like the alphabet being 36 letters is kind of awkward. 26 letters. For something that has like a compound like this. I was really excited for this possibility, though. I'm sad it's not real. But I suppose with the behavior of this, it makes logical sense. And if there was a comparator that could extract a signal from the top or bottom as well, it would be confusing as to what overrides what. It's unfortunate, but it makes sense. But that doesn't mean I can't do nothing. Even just swapping the top part for a lever, that would give me 32 signals. We could also just forego any attempt at making this like a human language and have it just convey hexadecimal data, except the 16 valid configurations, and then just make this the send button. And that would be okay, I think. Let's say that this was 0 and you wanted to send the number 8 or 8. Am I correct about that? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. This would be 8. 12, 15 would be the largest number, and then it goes back to 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 0. And that's pretty compact. It's still visual. I mean, I know I'm arbitrarily cutting off half of the possible configurations this has. You can have 8 different strengths, keeping an item in the frame. But then it's like weirdly directional. And I just think it's a lot easier to think of when it's just visually symmetric for one symbol. Like this horizontal and this horizontal is the same thing. Get these color bandos, but if you wanted to have a more complicated banner that was an arrow, maybe that would work as well. I just think this is cleaner. It does mean that my options are limited. Because with just 2, with all 8 configurations available, you could send 64. Question is, what's the densest possible receiving end of this? Because that's still the fundamental problem with the system. Whether we do the 2-bit version, the 3-bit version, sound transfer, redstone transfer, whatever, how do we compact the information? I can't rotate a shield in an item frame from somewhere else. And the densest method or message I think I could send is probably... well, it would probably be to encode it in an item that goes into a chest. So that would fall into the problem of it being, well, stackable. And then you would lose the order information. So unless every item is different or they're unstackables only, not many options. Is it possible to move banners? I doubt it. I assume this will just break. No, it just refuses to move it. Interesting. If I put it on the piston, then it breaks it. What if I put it on the piston like that? Then it refuses to push it. Okay, how about on block that is moved? Does not touch the banner. Oh, oh, huh? That there is weird behavior. Okay, so if you move the block under the banner, as long as there's a block there, the banner doesn't explode. Which awkwardly means that you could put a extended piston under a banner and it's fine. Is that true for side loading a banner? Yes. Weird. I could envision a world where I could like put a banner on the back of another banner. But since I can't move a banner into place, and the banner will... Well, ain't that wacky. Battle Lime Shield again. Other mechanisms that we have. I mean, simplest is simple on-off. So that'll get you the density of binary per meter. Not very readable. If we had like a giant feed collection of copper blocks, the different oxidation steps could be fed into a tape that stores it. And that'll get you 4, which is similar density to what you have here. So like 1 hexadecimal could be represented by 2 copper stacked vertically, and then you can just do other combinations. And that's data. But it's still not readable. These are the kind of conundrums that I have to face trying to make a protocol of communication like this. Like that, please. Thank you. I get this one. Oh, that's the problem. I can't make like a 3-way turn like that without a 4th element. That's the issue. So it'd have to be like that. It'd have to just both splay outwards. And that's okay. This plan really had potential, I thought. It's just this can't be converted to redstone. I wonder if I should request that. A way for this to make sense. the last thing to do, quickly. I was gonna consider making this smaller, but I think it's fine as is. Oh, one thing I can do. No reason that has to go out so far. This doesn't need to exist. And this one, instead of doing what it's doing, go upwards here. That looks good to me. The almost the case we could cheese this with some quasi-connectivity. We could cheese this with some quasi-connectivity. But that wouldn't help too much because this repeater still has to do its job. And I'd like it to use the same torch. This could... Good. I said I wasn't gonna, and I am doing it. I should stop. Here I am, stopping. Walk over here. This at least is interesting, and I think there's something that could be done here. Even if it's just something simple, like a really weird subtractor. No, this is leading nowhere. Okay. Actually, wait, it was leading somewhere. It would always be weaker than this. So this would never output. Try and cross it over to the other side, that would just sort of do the subtraction thing I've already done. That doesn't matter. Okay. For a test stream to test just technical situation and also just, can I do this in an entertaining sense? And I think I can. Made some pretty nice stuff out here. Demonstrated my old walkway technology and improved it. Demonstrated the platform. Right, that's still a problem. There's no way to make it faster. That's just a problem. Pretty clean. Showed that off, showed the language off, showed my musings over here. At some point, I'll port over the old Minecraft Redstone world, and I can show you the proper workings of this. Though I assume I already did in the past. if Thega remembered this. And it makes sense. I would have liked to have shown it off, so I probably did. Well, ignoring all that, thanks you for... Right. Thank you for enduring this test stream. I had a good time. I hope you had a good time. It was nice. It was peaceful. And assuming all goes well tomorrow, Acela will finally be back. And then I will also be back out of pure motivation and momentum. So look forward to that. I'm Exception. This has been TV. Have a good day and good night.